Hi, and I have a store in Western New York, in Medina, New York. So I'm an IOD stockist, and you can find us or any other retailer on the IOD locator on the IOD webpage. So if you need product, if there's something that you see that you like, get a hold of your local stockist or go to that locator to find somebody that's near you or that will ship. Many of us have a full inventory and we do ship. So, it's like, oh my gosh, we forgot. So, I don't know. I was thinking today, you know, I'm always trying to come up with like, what's new? What's different? What haven't we done before? What hasn't somebody else done before? And you know, sometimes I just want to put transfers on a piece of furniture. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be like the next best technique, the newest way to apply. Sometimes we just want to take something basic, that what we have, and transform it using the IOD transfers. Today I'm going to be working with label Ephemera, and I'm going to be working with the Fronds Botanical. So, no, Fronds Botanical. Yes, we always get this and the stamp mixed up. Yes. A few of you have gotten both because we've goofed up our orders and we just sent you the replacement. So I will, I'll chat for just a bit. This piece here was done in a color that was kind of a, I don't even know how to describe it. It was in the greens, but it was not like this green. This is a really warm, soft, almost neutral green that I used on here. I repainted this a couple of hours ago. And then I did the panel in opposite color because what I wanted to do, I have a piece here that we had done for workshop, and I've always been so, I love this little piece. This is an old vintage Vermont sap bucket. I love it. I love the way it looks, and I thought that this would be a beautiful panel, and plus this hasn't sold. Well, we haven't been open, but it didn't sell at that color, but it's loaded with shells. It's such a cute piece. And I was thinking like how pretty it would be using the Fronds Botanical, label Ephemera, and Entomology. So you guys know that I am a big one for, I will to always say right out of the tube, these are beautifully rendered. Oh, that's J.R. Jonathan. Beautifully rendered designs that Sally and Josie have done. They're gorgeous. So many times they can be used straight out of the tube, and they're beautiful. I just love to cut them apart, and I love to mix them up. I like to use several different transfers at one time, but still keep a really beautiful, eye-pleasing arrangement. So I will use parts of three different transfers, and I will make it work on a piece. And I make it work because I want to make sure my colors are cohesive, okay? And my scale, the scale that I put on my piece, the scale of the transfers that I'm using together have a cohesive look to them as well. So let's look at this, for example. This is Fronds Botanical. It is beautiful. But when I chose this beautiful soft green color, I wanted to think of that soft green, that softer palette of green. So I picked out, like, I love this. But see how this is different from the bright green. Like, I wouldn't put this with this. I probably wouldn't put this with this on the same piece because they're two very different greens. And while you may like that, that's cool. Like, do what you want. For me, that's not pleasing to my eye. So I want to...
You're like, while you may do that, I'm just saying it's wrong.
No,
that is the wrong way.
She is the rudest thing. So I'm going to be looking for and picking out colors that kind of go together. Now, the birds are very limited in IOD. Other than with stamps, we can do some stuff with stamps, but the birds, there's a beautiful bluebird on the Botanist Journal. Beautiful bluebird. I have students actually like calling dibs on that bird when we cut apart transfers.
I'm obsessed with those little seed pods.
Oh, me too. I
It's
love
my
them.
favorite
Oh, we'll
part.
use them. And so, but that's almost too bright of a bird for me to put on here with what I want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the birds that are on Entomology have a softer, more neutral look. And look how pretty. Can you already see how these will work together? Okay. So I have 3 birds. I always save all my leftover pieces for everything. Sometimes I do kits. Sometimes I do just use them in parts and pieces on a piece that I'm doing. And it's cool. They're just, break them up. Use them in different ways. Anybody have any questions so far? No? You all are very quiet today. And we have a really long piece here, so I want to try to, I'm hoping to have this make sense and bring a good balance to this. But look at here, even these look kind of like rose, like these look like almost rose petals or rose leaves. But see how they share the same kind of look, the same tonally. So I'm just going to grab those pieces that have that much more neutral.
There's no blue undertones really in those. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
like
there's a
these
little
other
bit
greens,
here, a little bit of blue undertone, but
very little.
But these definitely have a
Yeah.
lot of blue undertone. And really, here's the other thing, when you're laying this out, you don't have to use everything. You don't
Please,
have to
Mother,
put,
those scissors.
you don't have to put
Oh.
everything, you don't have to put everything on your piece. That's what I'm saying. If it's edited, it has a much more visually appealing look. So see this here, that beautiful like olive kind of color. See how that works nicely with like these neutral tones. So I'm gonna snag those, but not this because it's a brighter green. I love this. We're gonna use this because again, it's got that the very soft tonal look that we're looking for. And I have one of these. I have some seed pods. I love the color of these seed pods. So we'll start there, I guess. We will start there. Oh, sorry. Now, what do I do when I'm cutting apart all of these transfers? I just use a stapler. I cut these into little parts like I did here. And these are just leftover pieces. I staple them onto the backing. That way I can lay them right in my extras box and use them without them slipping and sliding and falling off the background. Okay? So let's get this guy off of here too. Remember when we first saw these and we fell in love with the seed pods? They're just so doggone cute. They really are.
And it's just such attention to detail. Who would think just to make a transfer just a little
Tiny
perfect
seed pod. I know. Who would
love
think?
it.
Josie and Sally.
Exactly.
They would think. So the other thing is, when we talk about placement of our transfers, we want to think about, and I know this is a hard concept for lots of folks, we want to center everything, right? Because we don't want to miss, we don't want to lose part of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to show you right now.
You have to.
Sometimes you have to, and visually, it's much more appealing.
It's
so
probably very upsetting for people to see.
I know it is, but I'm going to do it because trust me, it really does. it just gives a beautiful look versus taking this whole big piece and just flat out putting it in the center. We are going to bring it off center. And what a difference that makes. Anytime I have a stem, I want to make sure that that stem is not floating.
And you can also do that by covering it, maybe layering it with other things.
You can, yep. So, but look what I'm gonna do. Okay, everybody ready? Hold your breath. Relax, it'll be okay. Nobody have a panic attack. I'm gonna cut this off. And what will I do with this? Who knows? But look, nothing terrible happened, right? And so I'm going to, do I have my tape out? Yes, I do. So I'm going to just begin to kind of lay these out to see what kind of arrangement I have. I don't want to apply any pressure either. Don't do that, because part of it will transfer. But already, look how pretty. But see, I want to carry the same, this needs to go up. And so I may bring this up here.
Yes.
Or I could bring it like that, right? So we might do both. Who knows? I might do both. But let's just lay it on here for now. Oops. Oops. I ripped my transfer, but it's okay. It really is. Guys, let us know if you have any questions. We would love to know where you're watching from. And also, we would love it if you'd share this video. You can share it to your own page so you can refer to it later. That's one of the best ways to be able to, yeah, see, we might bring this in somewhere.
To be able to what?
To be, oh, I'm sorry, to be able to watch it later. Because, you know, you go back and it's like, oh, what was that video?
It's also a great way to support a small business, even if you can't financially support it.
Sure, absolutely. We always appreciate that when people share. I mean, obviously this is the IOD page, so okay, so here we go again. I want this like it's growing out of the bottom, so I'm going to cut off part of that.
Yeah, because I like that little dirt.
That little dirt mound. And I'm going to just tape that here. I may end up rearranging these.
Yeah, I think that needs to not be on the end.
Yeah, and we'll see.
Yep. Over there.
Yeah, it's, well, and remember, Megan, it's like when you're applying makeup. Until you get it all on there,
yes, that's
you don't know. And we'll play around with these. But see, already I'm feeling like it's too straight there.
Level, yes.
So what we're going to do,
so maybe those, you'll have something down here and it'll come peeking up.
but look,
Oh yeah.
no, I need to change the height of that. See? I went from up here down. When I left all that stem on there, it was up here and it just made a straight line. And we don't want that. So the next thing I want to do, because these are big elements for my birds. They are focal points. This guy is kind of coming up from the top.
Cute.
Oh, he's so cute. And here again, I'm going to just trim. I'm going to have to, well, we don't want mommy to break her leg.
No, we do not.
Okay.
Cute.
But see, okay, now this bothers me because look, he's almost, we want to focus kind of inward. And
He's
see,
kind of going off.
yeah, he's going off the side. So to me, it makes more sense for him to be, oh, I lost part of my stem. Oh, well, that'll be okay. It makes more sense.
You need that stem right up in there though, Mom.
But no, I'm going to overlap that, Megan.
Yes, but these are such good pointers. Like, these are the very subtle details that not everybody realizes. Like,
Yeah.
just the way his beak is pointing is important.
Yes, it is. We want the attention to be here. If he's over here, he's kind of looking off in another direction.
They'll make us look over and be like,
Yeah, like, what is he looking at? Okay, and I want to bring this guy. Now I'm thinking to myself, if these are birds sitting in a tree, like he's going to be kind of more up in the branches up here,
Yes.
right? We don't want him down here.
No.
So let's get him more up there.
Now we know what that other bird's looking at.
There we go. Look, and truly, there's an angle, there's a linear
Yeah, it
quality
makes
to
sense.
this that makes sense. Does that make sense to everybody?
To me, it does.
Good. Going back to art school days and Mr. Fox and his art class. So let's see. I don't want to go like crazy up in here with a lot of leafy stuff, but I do need to bring up some leaves up here. So let's do that. Kind of usually when I lay these out, so we need to cover up here. So I have this at an angle and I'm just using my thumb to make a crease, and I'm going to cut along that line.
And then you'll cover up that little stem piece.
Yes, exactly. So see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put a few more of these because it would look better in a cluster. So again, right now I'm just laying this out because I want to be able to get a good visual. I'm also overlapping these, but I want them a little shorter. Oops. So see that? I make a crease and I cut right along that line. And believe it or not, I save all of these teeny little pieces too, because sometimes I'll even cut out individual leaves and place them where I want them. We are a quiet bunch today.
Mm-hmm.
So that one will kind of go there.
I better look at my tablet to make sure. What if we're getting comments?
Oh, and we're not seeing them here.
Okay, so just focus this on there while I
Okay.
actually can do it right on my phone.
Beautiful. So here we are. We're laying it all out. Just taping it up so that we can make adjustments. I'm not going to be applying any of these until I get a good general layout. Hi Patty, hi Peggy, hi Sumacher. I can't wait to see you. Okay, Megan's trying to get, do we have comments? Has anybody commented? Sue, can you comment? Sumacher, can you make a comment to see if we get you on here? Isn't this the cutest little cabinet ever? You can't get it on your phone? Oh, all right.
I don't want to be commenting myself.
Oh, true, yes. Okay.
Getting there.
Oh, okay.
Keep talking on.
Oh, I know, yes.
You have the gift of gab.
So I have this third bird here. I don't know if I want him in here. I just haven't decided yet, but I actually think he might be kind of cute, like just off the side, and oh my goodness, I will lose that bird's tail. That could really freak people out, right? So, but it's okay, I'm going to do it anyway, but I'm not going to try to do it with one hand. So I might put him down here, and that gives me, 1, 2, 3,
there's tons of comments.
3 visual elements.
Okay.
That are similar.
So sorry, we don't know why we aren't seeing them. Okay. So
you can
did
go.
you seal with Big Top or something before adding these transfers?
Well, you know what? You're gonna prepare your piece for transfers according to whatever your paint brand is and what the recommendations are for paint brands. Everybody uses different paint brands. This happens to be a self-leveling paint that I've used. It has a built-in top coat. If you're using a chalk style paint, yes, you definitely want to seal it before you apply a transfer.
And for those of you asking what the color is, you can just send a private message.
Sure.
We'll
Yep.
let you know.
Okay, so
Okay, someone asked, hi Patty. Someone asked if we can reuse a transfer.
no, they're one-time use. one-time use. You know what I'm looking for? And I've got to have it here somewhere. Are the pinkish ones? Oh, right here, maybe. Nope, not on that one. I always have like parts and pieces of transfers going on. But I do want to bring in that little bit of soft pink. And do you know why? Because I've got this little bit of soft pink here. But there should be a...
Debbie asked if there are any that look like beach grass. I don't know.
No, but girl, see, if I wanted to make beach grass, I'd probably I'd take these and I'd cut these off and I would just layer these and maybe make beach grass, you know. But beach grass is kind of easy to paint too.
Maybe not for everyone.
Not for everybody, but I bet you could do it, Patty. I bet you could. If you Google how to paint beach grass, I bet you'll.
No wonder it was so quiet. I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh, I know, and that always kind of freaks us out. Like, oh dear, nobody's watching. But we sometimes we can't see the comments coming through on our platform here. So okay,
Lots of people new to transfers here.
Oh, I'm
very helpful.
so glad. Look, I think what I want to do here, I want to layer something over this bird too. All right. So I'll come back to that. But I have my general layout here. I do want to... See, I'm going to want to put like this leaf up here, but I'm not going to do that just yet. And I think that I'm also going to want to add some more of this. But look, while we look at it this way, Megan, how are you today? While we're looking at it this way, I'm going to go this way. So I'm going to cut. And again, we turn them around and it just changes the design a little bit and gives you some flexibility. So instead of it going this way, I'm turning it, right? So I'll probably lay that in here. I may find another, I don't know where, or like this pink one, I might want to bring this up here, but I'll just add stem to it.
The cost of the transfers, it's different. There are different sizes. This particular transfer, I think, is $29.
Yeah, retails for around $29. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to at least start getting some of these on here because I know that I want like this here, this here. I know where I want my birds. So I'm going to start applying them. I am going to use these letters, and I'm hoping it's going to be a little noisy. So every transfer comes with an applicator stick, this little plastic stick, and you want to tape them in place, especially if you're working on a vertical surface. And you know what? Well, no, we'll leave it like this. But you want to apply some pressure and press until you're seeing a color change. And you'll know that it releases from the carrier at that point. You can sometimes hear a little crackling sound as well. I've got just like with these old pieces, they don't always sit perfectly, so. But you can see how that changes, right? And you can hear it as well. And then sometimes I can lift this off just a little bit. If any of it is left behind, lay it back down.
Maureen said, why not lie the piece down?
I was thinking the same thing.
Want to?
Yeah, I think I will do that because it's going to be so much easier for me too. Yeah, instead of like climbing on top of the table. Of course, we have nobody here to help with this.
I can help with it. Nobody will mind if I just set this down for a quick second.
Okay. There we go. Oh, yes.
never ignore your comments on purpose. It makes us nervous when no one's commenting.
I know, right? Okay. That's good. There. I just feel so much better about this, especially, like I said, so I'm not like crawling around the top. But look at that. You want to make sure that whatever you're transferring on is dust free. I mean, I've been doing this for so long. I know my paint. I know the product. So I pretty much know the result that I'm going to get using transfers on this brand of paint. It's certainly wise if you want to do just a little test area. It's not a big deal to come back, and if it doesn't work, sand it off, paint over it, try again. With some of these, you know, look at, I've got all these itty bitty little pieces. Like, I could literally just do a test area with one of these and try it. If I'm having issues, I'll know before I do the whole thing. So that is another big tip. Test a little snippet. You can find in your transfer some little piece, some little petal that you can cut out and that wouldn't be missed from the overall design to just test it. And then as I pull that back, any place that it didn't adhere, I can lay it right back down. But again, you know what? If a little tiny piece didn't adhere, I'm not going to stress about it. We want this to be fun. We don't want you to be stressed and try to achieve perfection, whatever that means to you. So while I'm down at...
Can you paint over the transfers?
Oh, of course you can. Yes. It depends on what you mean by painting over. You can, any of the black and white transfers are actually these. As long as you put a sealer over them, you can certainly then use different mediums to paint over. But if you make a mistake, oh my gosh, remember that one dresser I did, Megan? I rearranged transfer positions so many times because I messed up so many times. And I just kind of sanded back where my transfer was that I didn't want, and
so you don't see like the lump under.
Yeah, and then I just painted over it. And I layered around it and over it. And it was fine. Okay, so I have Mr. Bird in place. So if you haven't used a transfer, I'm so curious. Why not? What's been holding you back? I have to get my leg up to get into it here. Oh my gracious. We had Jonathan here today, and we kind of had all hands on deck today because we're starting to rearrange the store.
Jonathan is your grandson.
Yes. Yes, he is. And some of you, if you watched our live yesterday over on our Facebook page, Jonathan held the camera for a while.
He's my son.
And he did a really good job. We just said,
we
oh
weren't
my
even
gosh.
expecting him to do something.
No, and he...
Not that he's not good at things, but it just didn't seem like something important.
You know, like, who wants to film their grandmother, right?
Okay. So Lisa said they weren't immediately available, lack of courage. That's why for her.
Oh, Lisa.
And someone else asked, can you order online?
Yes, you can. You can find your local stockist or one of us that ships online over on the IOD retailer page. So this little guy here is, we want to kind of give that a leaf up there. So even though I didn't make the crease, okay. Bye, Jonathan. Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Jonathan, there's hand sanitizer in the car.
All right. So you talked about fear. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that it's not going to be perfect? Because guess what? Even those of us that have been doing transfers for a long time, we're not perfect at it. Do we have a good view here, Megan?
I'm sorry, it's hard to look
I
at the
know.
comments and film. The comments are here. Beth said she's been waiting for her stockist, her local stockist to open back up, but the piano is blue and ready to. Maybe I read that wrong, or there was a typo there. But I
That
get
happens
the
to me
idea.
all the time, yeah.
Okay, Lisa said she's decoupaged before, and she's painted, blended, and finished, so transfers are next. Oh my gosh, they're so easy.
Okay, now I'm going to, because I want this guy to come up a little higher, right? So I'm going to be actually...
What is the name of your store, and where are you located?
We are L&J Goods, and we are located in Medina, New York. That is in Western New York. And we are an online retailer as well. There's many other people who are committed to carrying the entire inventory of IOD products.
Okay, Carla said she's not done a transfer before. She doesn't live near a store who sells them, and she has a hard time ordering online.
Oh, gracious.
Without being able to see it in person. I get that.
Yeah, for sure. That's what's really cool about...
Oh, Lisa just said everything she's ever gotten from IOD has been exactly as she saw it online.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's one thing when you're ordering online. I totally get that, Megan. Remember when you laid down the rules that I couldn't order clothes from
Anywhere online.
anywhere online, or no, mostly
Unless it's like another color of
mostly-
something that you already had.
mostly those
Okay,
Instagram
yes.
accounts
Those
that's
are
like,
the
oh, those
worst.
advertising, like,
And you get doll clothes.
yes, it's terrible. Oh, and yet I continue to order them. It's crazy. So see what I did here as I brought these up, but I'm gonna make them. I'm gonna kind of disguise those ends there. So. And yes, in all fairness, I am using more than one transfer, obviously, because I have parts and pieces, just because I have them left over from our business. See, I want that bird kind of like tucking behind, but I'm also positioning this. Look here. So I want this positioned so that this overlaps the end of my other stem. Do you see that?
Perfect.
Now, I still have this one to deal with, but I'm going to do that. And it's all of these little details that truly create a pleasing composition.
Someone asked to share our link. You can really find us.
Just search
everywhere
L&J
by
Goods.
searching L&J Goods.
ELLEN.
Yep, it's right in the description for this video.
Yeah, we do a lot of tutorials over on our page too, just like other stockists do. YouTube as well. I mean, we're not here to promote us because there are a lot of fantastic retailers all over the place. But we do appreciate you.
And we like teaching.
And we love teaching, yes. But look at that. See, I overlapped a blue flower right over that pink one.
Perfect.
Because in nature, isn't that what happens?
Yeah.
Right. So somewhere in this pile of scraps, I have another one of these. Because remember I laid it out?
Patrice said, why not overlap at a 45-degree angle toward the middle where it is empty?
Well, I could. I'm not done here yet. I'm not done here yet. Okay, so we'll keep going. I'm just gonna cut one of these off because I'm not sure where I want to use this
We don't
yet.
want him to look like he's in jail.
No, we don't. We just want him looking like he's peeking out. So I'm actually going to cut. I'm not going to use all of this. All right. So I'm thinking I want it like here. See how then it doesn't cover up the entire bird. And you know, it's
Thank you, Deborah, for saying that.
what's that?
She said you can ask her anything. I have PM'd her several times, and she always answers my questions.
Deborah.
Transfers from her. That's nice of you.
That's very
Yes,
nice.
Patrice, I can go in closer. Sorry, I can't get the comments on the camera where I usually do, so I'm having to kind of lean over to look at the computer to get your comments, and then come back and film. It's kind of tricky.
Okay.
Is this close enough, Patrice?
Yeah. So here I have this little end where it's floating, but I'm going to make it so it doesn't float anymore, and I'm just going to add that little section of flower over that. Okay. And it also looks like it's coming from behind the bird. Yeah, like that. And now I'm going to, I don't want this all over the bird because I kind of want it to look like it's coming from behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I just stopped it right there. I know, he is snoring away too. Okay. And even, we're not going to be extremely fussy about this because once...
you don't look like you're being fussy at all.
Because once you, you know, but once you, you step back away from this, that's our rule. Step back away and guess what? Nobody's going to notice.
It's really pretty, Mom.
Thank you. So I even want to overlap my bird here just a touch. Do I want that there? Or do I want to move it down? Maybe I want to overlap those letters a little bit. We're going to be adding some more typography also. So it's okay to overlap. I think, again, the layering gives it just such a pretty, a little more interest. I can
Please just send us a private message and I can tell you what color green this is. But yes, it is a green.
It's really a pretty soft green. Let's see how I cut this apart and I turned it at a 90 degrees. I turned it 90 degrees so that it just didn't all look like it was all going in the same direction. And I cut and I use these pieces along the edges. Like there's a little part of that flower. Like I can just lay that right back down. Press it.
Cool.
Voila. Voila. So let's see what else we have here.
And is this all one transfer or pieces from more than one? It's pieces from more than one.
This is pieces, right now I'm using pieces from Entomology. I'm using pieces from
Fronds
Botanical. And I am using pieces from...
Label Ephemera.
Yeah, not yet though.
But you will be.
I might, yeah. So, so let's talk about the negative space also, and the fact that somebody mentioned, like, why didn't I do something at a 45-degree angle to fill a space? I think it's important to have empty spaces also because it gives your eye a place to rest. And as you're moving around this composition, your eye needs a place. It needs an open space so that, and that's just for my aesthetic, because I don't like things really cluttery looking. So when I design, I'm going to tend to be a little, take it down a notch, be a little more simplified. I'm going to have a little more, a more white space here. Another artist might fill this completely and it could give it a totally different look. For my aesthetic, this is what is pleasing to me. But you can do whatever you want, you know? I'm just trying to share just some basics of design and layout. The things like choosing a color palette that's cohesive. I want to use elements that are cohesive. You're literally like, if you're overlapping, remember to transfer the piece that's on like to the back first, then lay this over. See that?
I guess the worst that would happen is the other leaf would be on top of that leaf.
It would be. You would actually, it would transfer onto the transfer carrier. True. Which, yeah, I've done that too. So many times. I make all the mistakes, so you don't have to. Okay. But, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. This is very pretty. You know who's going to love this? My mom. Mm-hmm. She is going to be like, where can I put that?
She is going to.
She
and
really
it's
is.
Small enough that she could.
So here's another thing, like see how this bird is coming off here? I want to do just a little something to anchor him in a branch here.
Okay, someone asked, would you ever take the transfer over into the green areas?
I have done that on many pieces. I'm not going to do it on this piece.
Okay, will these fade if put on furniture that's left outside?
Yes, they will. These are not.
Even if it's sealed?
Even if it's sealed.
Okay, the sun will fade them.
Big lesson. Last year, 2 times. Yeah. We had a gentleman had us design his entire patio, like front porch patio area. And he wanted some really interesting pieces. He came into the store and he picked a piece that I had done a really cool, different technique that layered transfers under like a milk paint type of thing. And anyway, it was cool. It was really cool the way that it turned out. He wanted to use it on his porch. We advised that he would need some protection from the sun with that, because if they are left out in the sun, they are going to fade. They are not UV protected.
So what was the huge lesson that you learned?
That not everybody takes care of their things the way we would like them to. Yeah, I would be very cautious about using them outside. Remember this little guy that came from somewhere? Like, look, I'm just going to pop him there. Again, I'm not going to fill every edge space. I'm going to be adding some of label Ephemera in here as well. Again, that's one of my favorite transfers to use.
Another great one to cut up. Yeah.
Cut up in bits and pieces. Megan really, really loved the seed pods. So
yes,
I tend to like
Put
seed.
one in that little bird's beak.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I would love you to paint a little worm dangling from this bird's beak.
Oh my
Or a little piece of like something that he's taken to his nest.
So, I don't know. I'm not sure if I do. See, to me, because
I know.
No, because the intention of these, historically, this would have been on a botanical print that would teach you about a certain type of plant and the different stages of its growth. I would want a blank space for this. I don't want to use this, and it doesn't make sense for it to be up in here, right? So as much as we adore these tiny seed pods, here's another lesson for you about design. Edit. Edit, edit, edit. Like, okay, look, we'll use these teeny ones. Maybe we won't.
No, it's not right.
No,
you're right.
Okay,
unless it's coming from these birds' beaks, it doesn't make sense.
I would never do that. Oh my gosh.
Is it that crazy that a bird would carry a seed pod?
No, not at all. But I'm not going to like intentionally make it happen on my piece here. Oh my word, you guys. Okay, so I have just a few little bits of label ephemera here. I don't know, I'm fussy about that too, about what makes that. Well, actually, no, I'm not that fussy, because I will mix French words with English words, and whatever other language is on here. I'm looking for a way that it looks cohesive. All right, we're going to do the Naturalist Library here, because, so I'm going to cut this out.
I would put this crazy with scissors.
And again, you know what? Many of you might think, oh, I want to center this.
And you can if you want.
You can if you want to. But I kind of,
you can if you want to. It'll just be ugly.
No, it won't be ugly
really
at all. Not at all. But I would do it off center. It's like I'm thinking of off center here.
Don't hate that spot.
Let's take it off of the backing. But look at how pretty that is, right? So let's just lay that there. We're not going to attach it yet. We got to be watching our time too. I always feel like I go over. You know, most people don't know what this stuff, like if you use a foreign language, you don't know what it is.
You hope.
What it's saying. Well, although we do have somebody that absolutely does know what all of it says. But I'm going to, with this one, I'm going to cut this off here. I want it to come in from the side. Right, so we'll lay that down. Get rid of that. We're almost done, you guys. I just want to make sure that I'm straight.
I think so.
Good. That's what's great about the grid lines too. Then I have the other one over here. I'm going to save that little 1858. And I'm going to bring this over here. Look at that. Oh my gosh, but you don't have the entire word there. It's okay.
Constance, you say to seal first. With what, please? My piece is painted with Fusion Raw Silk, and I will be putting the Midnight Garden Transfer on it.
Susan, you have a self-leveling paint that has a built-in top coat. You shouldn't need to seal. But again, it's not going to hurt you to do a little test area. And I would say that no matter what kind of paint you're using, do a little
seal it. You can use any sealer.
Clear
really.
polyacrylic. Yep. If you wanted to seal it. Yeah. Now, since we're talking about sealing, when this is all done, you definitely need to seal your piece.
Someone asked how many different sets are there. Sets of what are you asking?
Oh, how many different sets have I used? I have parts from three different transfers. Well, no, but I'm saying of two different from Botanical, right?
Oh, 2 sets of from Botanical.
Look.
1 Entomology, 1 Ephemera.
Yeah. Yep. These 3 birds are all on Entomology, etc. I think the most important thing with the lettering is that you get it straight. That also helps with having those grid lines. And see now, like, okay, look at, here's another thing. How do I say this? And again, this is just my personal opinion. When you get this Entomology transfer and you open it up, there's birds, there's butterflies, there's bugs, there's frogs, there's all of that. And many of you may want to, oh, well, I love butterflies. I want a butterfly in mine. I want a dragonfly. Could I put a frog in mine? You sure can. It's your piece. You get to do what you want. Today, what I'm trying to do is showing you how I edit to create a certain look with these transfers.
Nancy said, what if I don't like the finished look? How can I remove it, or would I just paint over it?
You would sand it and paint over it, Nancy, and trust me, I have done it so many times.
That's really the only way to remove it.
Yeah, it's kind of which is why it really does help to lay it out like I did here. And but sometimes, like, I'm working on a project, and seriously, if you know me, I get an idea and I feel like I'm like a mad scientist, and I'm snipping and cutting and laying stuff on, and then I'll step back and like, that's not right, or Megan will say, Mom, no. But you know, and I certainly don't want to minimize the fact that, you know, you're paying money for these. So as much as you can plan ahead to get the look you want, that's great. I do have the advantage because I do prep for classes, and I prep for,
so you have lots of scraps.
I have a lot of scraps. I can open up a tube and know that I will be using that in many other ways.
You never really waste it.
I never waste a transfer. Look at this. Is my, I mean, this is just part of it. This is one part, right?
Yeah.
Just one. I have a shelf. I have 2 buckets in the back and 2 cubby shelves that are loaded with parts of transfers. And I'll go back there and I'll use them. I'll layer with them. I'll cut them apart even more. It's kind of fun to have a collection of them, like your own little library of transfers, so that you can pick and choose and use what you want from different parts from different transfers. It's really kind of that next level way of creating a design with them that doesn't look like everybody else's.
Constance says, you do have an excellent design sense. Your art background shows.
Thank you very much. I hated art school. I hated art when I was in college. Everybody told me I needed to be an art major and go to learn how to be an art teacher, and I hated it.
But
after
the
my
funny thing is, you are an artist, and
I
you are
am
a teacher.
But I could not be constrained to those.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I did not like it one bit.
Well, you're still an art teacher. So
I really, yeah.
one way or another, you got to
Yeah,
do that.
I think that we all have, you know, natural abilities, and you can find a way to use them. You can't let, you know, hey, because I'm not an art teacher, I went on to teach, but it just wasn't in art. But
you are teaching art
But I'm
right
teaching.
now.
Yes, I am, and I've always done that, right?
Yes,
I've always done it, whether it be fabric art or knitting or
There's different paths to the same place.
exactly. So guess what, guys? I am really happy with this. I think.
Do we want to tip it up, maybe?
Yeah, we
So we
will.
can get a good look?
I just am looking for maybe one date. I just want some numbers in there somewhere. But now, to me, I look at that, and that is enough. I don't need to add any more. And actually, here's another great little bit of advice, is to leave it as is, step away from it, and look at it later in the day. Look at it the next day. And again, we don't want to make it look like everybody else's. We want it to look like yours. And that's why it's really cool to be able to take these apart and use them in pieces. Megan, does this look centered up here?
I think so. Your hand is kind of in the way.
Well, we're going to go for it.
Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? Nancy says, I have a glossy black narrow chest with lots of drawers. May I just apply these transfers directly on top of the glossy paint?
That I don't know, Nancy.
You have to test.
You do have to test a little bit. Kind of go around to the side, inside of a door, something like that, and try it.
Just a little piece.
So check it out. I am really, really happy with this.
That's great.
I think it's so pretty. I think it so definitely speaks to my aesthetic. And shall we stand it up? So
Yes. Okay, I'm going to set this down for a moment so I can cover.
And then I'm going to show one last little trick that we do. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. That's really pretty. All right. The last thing you want to do if you are applying a transfer, we want to do something called burnishing. So I'm just taking the backing. You could take a soft cloth, and I'm rubbing over this whole thing. I'm doing that to make sure that every bit of my transfer has adhered to my surface. Another thing that I love to do is I have a very worn, what?
Nothing.
Oh, a very worn sandpaper here. And I can very lightly distress these. Not too much, but I do like to do this because a little bit of the background pops through and it just makes it look not so much like a sticker is on there.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yep.
See how that?
Yep. Kind of melts it into
It does. See how it fades it, and then the last thing that I would do with my piece is I would
seal it.
Seal it. So you can use whatever your favorite sealer is. You can also wax. I like if some of my paint lines, like the strokes from my paint, kind of pop through too, which is cool. So you can wax this, like if you wanted to take it to another level, you could dark wax this interior and it would look really pretty.
Maya says your cabinet is absolutely stunning. I had no idea there were gorgeous birds in the Entomology Transfer.
Isn't that something? They're hidden among the frogs and the bugs.
She said, I have all 3 transfers and never even opened them until today.
Oh,
Thank you for your lovely
Maya,
tutorial.
that is so nice. Now I want you to come up with your own design.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for today. I am not going to seal this yet because I just painted this like a few hours ago. So I want to let this rest.
That is beautiful, Mom.
Thank you.
I love it.
I really like it too. And look, I'm off center, but I've balanced it with type over here. It's all about creating balance and points of
It's perfect.
similarity.
I love it.
I like it too.
Well done.
Thank you. You guys, thank you so much for giving this opportunity to come on IOD and
for being patient with us when we couldn't see your comments.
For
Thank you
sure.
for
We
sticking around.
appreciate you so much. We love these products. We are passionate about them. And we love sharing some different ways that you can think about using any of the products outside of the way they come out of the tube. So have fun with them. Be willing to cut them apart and reimagine them, and you can do something like this that nobody else will have. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you in 2 weeks back here. Otherwise, we'll see you over on our page, Ellen J. Goods.